climbing adds meaning to your life.
There's nothing else you got to worry about when you're climbing.
Climbing can take you to so many places around the world, like here in Arapiles.
Arapiles Dyurrite, it is the school where you learn the craft of climbing.
It's like I'd been, teleported from town life, just boom, here I am in a different world.
I think a lot of people come to Dyurrite to find themselves.
I know a lot of people who at the best times of their life have been at this place.
Parks Victoria, on the eve of a public holiday and the US election, released a draft management plan to cover Mount Arapiles Dyurrite. It just seems so negligent that, this is going to be taken away at the stroke of a pen with no consultation.
The madness in this draft management plan is hard to comprehend.
It's an access issue. It's about connecting with nature, and we really need everybody to have a voice in this.
I can come out here by myself and go bouldering. Day after day, week after week, year after year, and I still don't get bored of the movement. The movement is so good, the exercise is so good, and chatting to other climbers who might be out there experiencing the same thing. I keep coming back to climbing and going, wow, it is truly special. The other sports are good, but I think climbing has always had my heart more than anything else. It would be horrible to lose it. This is the Pharos, full of iconic climbs, and including what was once the hardest climb in the world, Punks in the Gym. Over there, we have the Pinnacle Face, which has some of the best easy climbing in the world, including Tiptoe Ridge, which is a 100-metre grade 5 climb, which is an incredible experience for people starting out. All of that area is going to be off limits. All of the Pinnacle Face is going to be off limits. All of Yesterday Gully is going to be off limits. We're still learning why some of these places are off limits. It's either for cultural heritage reasons or to preserve flora, but sometimes we don't exactly know why. And that's what's frustrating, because if we, had it explained to us then, and we were part of the conversation, we could look at alternative ways to address those concerns. The biggest tragedy is the loss for future generations. I've had almost 40 years of incredible experiences here, but the fact that, younger generations are not going to be able to experience what I did, I really feel for them.
It's my place of connection with nature. It's my place of relaxation. It's hard to comprehend that I won't have access to 63% of these beautiful climbs anymore. The real tragedy of this botched management plan, because Parks Victoria and State Government have not consulted with the local businesses and the climbers and the local people, that they have closed all of the climbs that make Arapiles famous. The effect of these climbing bans on school students, kids these days, they get caught up in social media and their very urbanised lives. Their willingness to support each other, to work as a little group, to help each other up, to encourage each other to get to the top. My thought that they cannot experience the things that thousands of other school students experience. Kids need to have access to Arapiles.
Climbed around the world a lot. Always ended up coming back here because there's nothing like Arapiles. And Grampians is equally special in a different way. Then I guided for 20 years out there, and then I bought the shop. It's the reason there is that diverse group of people who have come here from all over the world. And it's because of one thing, that big rock. Another round of unreasonable bans will detract from the area as well. So the effects are going to be unknown, they're going to be negative. There's already been effects. There's already people saying they're not coming. We've got climbers servicing the wind farm. There's the Natamuck Access Company, and they employ 32 climbers and they help keep those wind turbines turning. You got umpteen doctors. I've got 3 kids in total, 2 kids at high school. They already have too many days off a year because of shortage of teachers. 6 or so teachers at Horsham High are climbers. We've been totally demonised by parks, and obviously the politicians have gone along with it, and mischaracterised totally. We've been blamed for graffiti, putting bolts in the rock near artwork, which even photos were put out there, and those photos were Parks Victoria bolts. We got blamed for everything, and now a lot of the general public thinks we're destroying the place, when in actual fact, we protect the place. I just wonder where it'll stop. It's not just going to be climbers, it will eventually be bushwalkers, four-wheel drivers. It seems like the government is trying to lock up our parks and protect them, but protect them by making it so we're looking through them in a glass case. We can't even use them. If that's the future we've got for our kids, they're not going to get to experience any of our parks. It'll be all in books.
Certainly the uncertainty about what's been going on over the last few years has been a significant element in us deciding to sell the business, but it's going to be hard to sell it, particularly with these announcements. So this place might sit here empty for who knows how long, and that would be a real shame. The bulk of the issue there is quarry sites, like places where they've chipped rock off to make stone tools. And they're usually little small areas here and small areas there. So you wonder, well, what sort of damage can people be doing to that if they're climbing 20 metres to the left or 10 metres to the right? It'd be like saying to a surfer, hey, we're closing Bells Beach and Gunnamatta and Joanna and Winky Pop, but hey, you can still surf in Port Phillip Bay. I mean, surfers would just go, yeah, right. Imagine we say, all right, we found an Aboriginal shell midden on this beach, we're going to close the whole beach. Yeah, okay, maybe that's okay. But imagine if they then said, well, there's a whole lot of beaches, hundreds of kilometres of coastline along Victoria we haven't assessed. Imagine they said, all right, Victorians, you're not going to those beaches yet until we get around to assessing them. There'd be an outrage. And yet that's the principle they're using in the Grampians, that same sort of Damocles hanging over their head for what might happen to Arapiles, for sure. Climbers, probably more than most folk, are so pro protection of cultural heritage and protection of the environment, and we've got an incredible legacy out of the Mount of just doing just that. This photo has particular resonance for me. A friend and I did the first free ascent of that back in, I think it was the 70s. Now, people come out here from overseas and they go to Arapiles and say, oh, we've got to do Kachung, we've seen the photos, we've got to get our photo, Of course, climbing is now gutted. All of this stuff, all these memories, this is going to go There will still be some people who come out here for the climbing, but shadow of its former self. All of this stuff, the cafe, all of the sort of memories here, this business, all sorts of other businesses in the town and beyond, I suspect a lot of that's going to fold.
Natty Mark has been woven over generations of people coming here to connect with Mount Arapiles. It's really important to recognise that there are sacred sites and there is cultural heritage out at the Mount that really does need to be protected, and we're not asking for that to not be protected. All we're asking for is consultation so that all peoples can have access to an area that is incredibly special. Parks Victoria have implemented closures because of cultural heritage and environmental protection. So the challenge with the ecological protection side of things is, again, it's not outlined in the plan. There's no chance for people to kind of fact check and cross check and do peer review on these things. The general methodology of what they've done is that they've just taken like these polygon areas. So there's no nuance in it at all. There's no saying, let's work with people to make sure that they understand that these things are important and work with them to let them have access around those important things that should be protected. As a Natty Muck person and as a climber, we really want to see these sort of two beautiful cultures that have come together at Arapiles actually coexist and be able to understand each other better, because that is really going to be the best path forward for everyone. What we really need is voices. We need people to sign petitions, so sign the petition that's relevant to your state, and write letters. Write letters to your members of parliament. If you're an international climber, talk about it, because this is about access and it's about fair and transparent and considered consultation around access to nature and to things that we love. So this is relevant for everybody.
The letter I I'll give you the...
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Katie and Anne.
Yeah.
It just talks a little bit about what to do in writing letters, why Natty Muck is important to you, and or the Mount. Outline your concerns.
That's one of the things about rock climbing that I think a lot of people don't understand. They're made up of these super intelligent human beings. Like, they're not your beer swilling bogans out there throwing cans in the bush and spray painting graffiti everywhere. I hesitated to write it, but I thought, you know what?
Taken a complex thing and worded it quite well.
So I spent 3 summers out at the Pines, and it just has a big impact on you as a young person. Some of my significant life moments happened out there.
They're so excited because they grew up climbing and now they're bringing their kids out to climb, and they're not going to be able to have the same experience.
To lose that is just going to be such a loss. I just don't see how the town can support itself without that being there.
I'm Ashley Hendy. I live in Natamark and I've been climbing for about 24 years.
Hello, we're going to go climbing.
Since moving to Natty, I guess that kind of opened up the opportunity for us to start thinking about having a family. We have a beautiful daughter, Ella, who's 2.5. It's really hard to quantify what climbing means to all of us. Obviously, it's got a strong power or force because she literally learnt to climb before she could walk. You don't have room to focus on other things when you're climbing. It's almost like meditation a lot of the time. I think that's one of the reasons why it's so powerful. It's really, I guess, difficult to face the concept of losing that. Okay, you want Mummy to carry it? We just want to mend the relationships and move forward, and I feel that the process, regardless of the outcome, has just been so divisive, and that's so counterproductive when we're working towards reconciliation. There's like a line drawn between climbers and other users of the park and traditional owners, and there shouldn't need to be one. Silver clap. Yeah. Well done. I think when you have this many people who love a place this much, it just makes sense that we would come together to find solutions.